This is the Mercedes-AMG GT, the very definition of a high-performance sports car. It's front-engined with a V8, it's rear-wheel drive. It is the business.
If your business is antiques, this is the future of sports cars. The BMW i8, carbon fibre structure, mid-engined hybrid, all-wheel drive. This is what the future of sports cars is. But Morley and I are going to try and convince each other of our chosen chariot's merits. First up, the AMG. Jokes aside, there isn't anything particularly old-fashioned about the car. Its engine is a brand new 4-litre V8 mated to a pair of turbochargers to produce 375 kilowatts and 650 newton metres. But it does drink 9.6 litres of premium unleaded every 100 k's if you've got a light right foot.
Hear that? That's a proper car. Are you sitting comfortably?
Yes.
Good, because I'll begin.
Listen, take me through your prehistoric machine.
Where's the handbrake?
See? The
Here it
future
is.
has come.
There it is.
So, see? Now you've learnt the electric handbrake. Soon it will be the electric car.
That's right, that's right. But in the meantime, look at that bonnet. And you know what else I like about this car? I like the way it does that speedboat thing when you give it some herbs, it lifts its nose, drops its backside and launches off like it gets up on the plane like a boat.
Like an old boat. Yes, I know what you mean.
Like a fast boat.
I do feel a little bit like I'm looking out the front of a tank or something. There's
a bit of a
wide, narrow windscreen.
There is a certain turret quality to it, isn't there? It turns in though. It really has a lot of turning.
It's impressive given that it is a car that's about 75% bonnet.
Yeah, it is. And you're sort of almost sitting over the back axle. I mean, that's really old school too, and that's deliberate on the part of Mercedes. You know, they didn't design it by accident to make it feel like that. It's designed to appeal to us old school blokes.
I will concede it does have a certain retro charm to it. It is, that sort of
retro charm. It's a supercar. You
old-fashioned
Philistine. But it's got a beginning, a middle, and an end. You know, it's. I can understand this car. I can relate to this car.
Yes.
You know, you can check the oil, and you can, show the neighbours the engine.
A simple car for a simple man.
Simple times.
Even this car is a nod to the future, albeit slightly, but Mercedes attempted downsizing from a naturally aspirated 6.2 litre to a twin turbocharged 4 litre, which granted isn't quite the extreme that BMW went to with their 3-cylinder.
Yeah, I'm not sure it's what the greenies had in mind, but yes, I can see what you're saying. They're chasing efficiency, they're chasing a fuel economy number, they're chasing an emissions number. Okay, that's fine. But what they haven't done is ruin the car in the process. I mean, it still sounds like a V8. It still goes like it's been shot out of a cannon. And I mean, they're the things that make a sports car fun. I mean, no one buys a sports car, no one spends $300,000 on a car unless they want it to stroke their ego and make them feel good. So let's abandon this veneer of sensibleness and efficiency and cut straight to the chase. If it doesn't make the hair on the back of your neck stand up, it has failed as a sports car.
Yeah, but like you say, they want their ego stroked, and part of that is making sure everyone looks at you. And people love that i8 because not only does it look different and it looks a little bit like the Batmobile, but because it also has that sense of the future about it. Whereas I think people will look at this car and go, that is a very nice car, but I've seen that all before. Where's something new? Whereas the i8 is something new and totally different. It is like that first time Steve Jobs held up the iPod. It is, this is a Discman. The i8 is an iPod.
I'm really concerned about your preoccupation with people looking at you when you're in a car. I mean, my preference is for people to ignore me when I'm in a car, because I might be up to something.
Why would anyone buy a Lamborghini? Because you can't really drive them on the road.
It matches their toupee, presumably.
There is a certain...
Of course you can drive them on the road. What are you talking about? I've driven Lamborghinis on the road.
Not to their extreme, though, can you? And that's part of the appeal.
I can't drive a Kia hatchback to its limit on the public highway. You'd be locked up.
Well, I think you can push the i8 further to its limits than you can push this car on the road.
Which is another way of saying it's got a lower limit.
In a fashion, yes.
In a roundabout way.
But
it's not
less fun.
It's not the performance car that this thing is. It's got merit. I'm not saying that, but it doesn't float my boat as a sports car. Sorry, end of.
You like boats? Meanwhile, in the future, we have the i8. On paper, it doesn't sound too spectacular. A 1.5 litre 3-cylinder petrol engine paired with an electric motor. But the hybrid powertrain does punch out a respectable 266 kilowatts and 570 newton meters. It's also clever, with the petrol engine driving the rear wheels and the electric motor sending its power to the front tyres. But the i8 can really be summed up in 2 stats. 0 to 100 km an hour in just 4.4 seconds, and fuel consumption of a measly 2.1 litres per 100 k's. Sounds like the future.
Sounds like an iPod.
This is though, this is the supercar for the iPod generation.
What's the iPod generation need with a supercar? They don't leave home.
Well, eventually when they leave home, they'll need a car, and this car, what appeals to me about this car is that it shows that there is a future for the supercar. We know hybrids are coming, we see
hybrids are here. We know electric cars are coming.
Electric cars are coming, but the hybrid, the plug-in hybrid, or whatever it is, that is going to be this next step that we're going to see with more and more cars. You look at LaFerrari, Porsche 918, even the McLaren P1. Hybrid is there now, This is sort of just making it a bit sexier. But this is, I guess, a step down from the LaFerrari and the 918.
Oh, I'm
and
sure
it's a
BMW
bit more,
would be pleased to hear you say that.
It's a bit more mainstream, even though it's 300 grand. It's a bit more mainstream.
But it has the problem that all hybrids have. It's going to be outdated. It's going to be last year's car real quick. Once things like the Tesla come online as mainstream cars, the full electric car with a skateboard platform, that's the future. So you want to talk about the future, or you want to talk about, next week? This
car with the carbon fibre reinforced plastic, it shows that there's these new techniques to make these cars.
They've been making cars out of carbon fibre for years. You don't have to have a hybrid driveline.
But I think the Tesla's great. I'm a big Tesla fan, but I think this shows that traditional car makers like BMW aren't going to be left behind too. They're going to play with Tesla, and what this car has that even the Tesla doesn't have is the wow factor. I mean, you're spending 300 grand on a car.
Well, you're not spending
deep
300
down,
on a Tesla.
No, but deep down, you want people to look at you, and I think...
No, I get enough of that.
Well, for other reasons. But I've never driven a car that gets quite as many looks as this. I mean, this is...
It's probably because you're driving it like a semi-trained chimp. It's got nothing to do with the car, mate. But look, the other thing
is... standard.
Okay, let me ask you a question then.
Yeah.
What would you rather drive, this or the AMG? Heart of heart, hand on heart.
Now, this is the challenge, because we are on a racetrack at the moment, and this car is most certainly not designed for a racetrack.
Neither are you, for that matter. Judging by the way no apexes have been harmed this lap.
This is a fun car to drive. You can't deny it. On the road, it is a fun car to drive.
Absolutely it is.
And it is a car that has, look, it doesn't have the huge brakes that you expect in a supercar. It doesn't have the huge sticky tyres that you expect in a supercar. But it does have, on the road, that inherent sense of balance that you expect from a sports car. It feels like a sports car. It doesn't feel...
It sounds good.
Like... Well, that's the thing with this car. I think it sounds better than an M4. It sounds less... It sounds less lab-made and more...
I still can't get over the feeling, though, that I'm sitting in a piece of Tupperware. Beautifully made Tupperware. And, they'll be building a toboggan run in hell before I buy an iPod, okay? So, for me, it's got to be the AMG.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens in the future, huh?
Well, if you don't start hitting apexes, I know what's going to happen.
If cars like the AMG exist in the future...
Well, I think they will, because the last car ever made will be a sports car. It's like horses. The only horses that people keep now, by and large, are thoroughbreds and race horses and specialised horses. No, because people don't need a horse anymore, and eventually people won't need a car anymore because we'll be riding around in jetpacks and God knows what. So the last car ever made will be a sports car, and it will be for blokes like you and I who are enthusiasts, who care, who give a damn, and that's why cars like the AMG, because it's so visceral and it's so here, they're gonna survive long after hybrids.
True that. Or maybe it'll just be a hybrid sports car.
Maybe, but don't forget. You talk about petrol running out. That's not what's going to killed mainstream petrol cars. It'll be electric cars. And they didn't. The Stone Age didn't stop because they ran out of stone. You know what I mean? That's not what happened. They found something better, and that's electric cars. I don't think that's hybrids.
Yeah.